But great to have you with us this morning. And today we're looking at, I think, a real important theme that we can carry into the weekend, which is try as best we can to avoid fear in all its forms. Now, again, there are legitimate fears, and we're talking more about just that, uh, that sort of that alarmist fear that can really overtake our lives, and especially living in a time as superheated as it is right now, it's really hard to not have our lives be based around fear. And yet that fear does not really serve us, and it doesn't help us to serve God. It doesn't help us to serve other people. I mean, there's all kinds of negative things to it. So let's go ahead and get started on that. So what I want to talk about today is when fear silences living. I was listening to a researcher, fascinating researcher at Harvard University, and they were talking about like how fear, what it does is fear hijacks all the other emotions. So you think about it, you're walking along the street, you're having a normal day, and then all of a sudden there's something is just like this instant creates a fear. Somebody racing towards you, or somebody about to step in front of a car, whatever it might be. All of a sudden, everything else is pushed to the side. And are there biological reasons for that? Obviously, are there also spiritual reasons for that? No doubt. But it's true. And we can see that thing, like that impending accident, and all of a sudden the fear pushes every other emotion aside. And it's very true as well with things that aren't necessarily like as immediate a danger as a child walking in front of a car. It may be in our own heads, fear of this group, or fear of that group, or fear of this group taking over, or fear of that group taking over, or fear of whatever. And as soon as that fear gets ignited, all of a sudden all other emotions, including love, care, empathy, everything else just goes in a flash, and we're just all feared up. And my buddy Bob Harmon used to use that phrase, which I really like. That we all just get all feared up. And the problem is, of course, friends, when that happens, uh, what starts to take place in our life is that it makes fear like the easiest starting point. Like if you really want to sort of get your message across to people, whatever that message is, political, economic, whatever that message is, if you can come at it from fear, it's great, because like literally you wipe the rest of the table clean, and then all you have is that fear-based message. That's it. And it totally consumes somebody's attention. That's it. That's all there is, because everything else has been pushed to the side. So there's a marketing approach to it. Like part of this, there's another article I was reading up on fear was saying that's why marketing, they've realized it works so well with marketing, because it just like pushes every other emotion to the side. And that's dangerous, because human beings tend to not work at their best when they're all feared up. I think we would agree with that. And what it leads to is what one author called the dark emotions. And I'll just read those up. So you imagine fear coming in, hijacking all our attentiveness, pushing everything else off the table. And then what it creates space for, along with that fear, is anger, hatred, resentment, desire to dominate. And yeah, none of those are going to help you out this weekend. We'll just put it that way. And so, what can we do? Well, I think we have to remember that in this life, we see, as was famously said, 1 Corinthians 13, we see dimly in this life, and so we don't see things clearly. And there's a beautiful passage here from the book Secrets of Heaven talking about the poetic version of caves. Like there's a lot of times where there's caves in the Old Testament. This is talking about one particular story in Genesis where there's a cave. And saying caves, what it pictures in our life is asking us to consider is just dimly lit faith. It's just where we don't really see things clearly. We're kind of in a cave, we're in a trap. And we have to find a way out of that. And this is kind of an interesting passage. People who are regenerating, in other words, who are growing spiritually and becoming spiritual, usually have tremendous difficulty seeing truth. Good coming from the Lord is what influences them. Now, that's an interesting one, right? Because when we're all feared up, somebody can offer us a piece of truth, and it's hard to get that in. It's really hard to get that in. But goodness is something different. When we reach out, we do something good. Somebody who's all afraid because they've, what the future is going to be because they lost a loved one, sending them a letter explaining all the reasons why somebody dies is probably not going to be as effective as simply bringing them over a casserole. That idea of that goodness is the way to reach into that cave. And I want to say that again. Goodness is the way to reach into that cave. And it's not just a way we reach into other people and reach into their lives. It's a way that we reach into our own. So when we let go of like, I got to understand this, I got to fully understand. Here's all this fear. How do I feel? Just figure out the way goodness looks. Figure out the way goodness looks. And it sounds like it's a bit of a detour around the fear. And ready for this? It is. It's a different thought pattern. It's a different way of going at life. And you think about if you can find your way to some kind of service, some kind of way to helping somebody else, and writing them a note or reaching out again, reaching into that cave. When we do that, when we come from goodness, when we come from service, is anger going to be present? Probably not. Is hatred going to be present? Probably not. Resentment going to be present? Probably not. Desire to dominate to be present? Probably not. Like all those dark emotions kind of wash away, and the fear, which has totally cleared off the table, now starts to get right sized and starts to get pushed to the side. And now good can come in and good can take the central part. So just remember that, friends. And I think is probably something all of us know, that those acts of good, those random acts of kindness, they really matter. They're huge. And there is, it really is the small stuff. I mean, Mother Teresa, quote her all the time. Such a great quote. I'm going to quote it again, probably for the 1000th time in my ministry. We can do no great things. All we can do is small things with great love. So let's just hold that. Here's this thing called fear, right? That's trying to capitalize, hijack all the emotions. And here, this idea, we can do no great things. All we can do is small things with great love. Just imagine a day where we're going with our right hand here. We're going with our right hand and we're going to do small things with great love, despite the fear, because this fear will hijack everything and push everything else to the side. And that's not a great way to live. And that's not a great way for help God, create us, help God to form in us a heart that's new, moving us from a heart of stone to a heart of flesh. So that's the thought for today, friends. So when fear silences living, just remember that good enlivens. There you go. So what we're going to do now is shift gears. And as we shift gears here at New Church Live, we're going to do a little prayer. We're going to do, a little meditation, a little prayer, a little blessing, and then we'll say hi to friends on Facebook. We've been having a problem with comments getting up quickly. So if there are comments that don't show up on my computer, I will certainly respond in written form in a few minutes. So with that, dear friends, let's get a little breath. And the prayer bow. A line from the Old Testament. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's see if we can get some comments on Facebook here. See if it worked. Let's see here. Try it again. Again, we've not had much luck with this little tiny technological glitch that things get streamed out there, but then they somehow don't come up on my. Oh, it did come up. Great. Linda, good morning to you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Marcus, thank you as always for all your help. Greg, great to have you joining us this morning as well. Let's flip on over to here. See if this one here is going to cooperate with us today, which looks like it will. Alrighty, daddy. All right. Oops, I saw a comment part up there from. It's not going to cooperate either. Hold on 1 second. All right, there we go. There we go. Martha, how are you doing? Good morning to you, Martha. I hope you're doing well. So, friends, like God bless all of you. Have a wonderful day. And we'll see you again tomorrow. And just a closing last little word about your very much appreciated financial support of New Church Live. Like our content? It's funded by viewers like you. Please consider becoming a sustaining supporter of New Church Live today.